So, what is today's video? Today's video is going to be covering why happiness is a lie and why there's something that is an alternative focus in our lives. We have been sold through our entire lives that we need to chase happiness. We need to chase a fleeting feeling that is impossible to hold in our lives for an extended period of time, and that means happiness. And everyone says that do what makes you happy. Who cares about the relationship? Who cares about the food? Who cares what it means long term? It all matters about your happiness. Just prioritize your happy. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. This is shoved down our throats all through social media, all through people that have no idea what they're talking about, people that have never actually done the research, no one that's actually talked about the experts about happiness, because there are expert happiness, been something that I've read about, and I'm forgetting his name, but if you look up happiness, everything around happiness on Amazon, he talks about when you are the most happy, ironically enough, a lot of the times you're the most miserable. In other words, the men who are going overseas and they're in a military unit and it's terrible conditions, and that is ironically the worst time, but then they come home and they go, that was when they were most happy. Why is that? Why is there a contrary to your happiness, your contentness, which I'm going to argue for, and difficulty? The reason being is that when you do a challenge, you are rewarded for the challenge. If you do something you don't want to do, you are rewarded. So if you make sales calls, you are rewarded at the end with, I should do that more often. That felt good. Okay. I wasn't happy doing it. I was getting rejected. I wasn't doing any sales. Nobody was saying yes to me. I, for example, was talking to someone today. He does not like his job. Okay. He took extreme action after a discussion. However, that's up to him because he took full accountability for it. And I said, you've been talking about your job and not liking your job for a while. And he goes, yeah, but I just want to stay another 2 weeks so I can get another paycheck. And I said, well, that's chasing happiness. That's a fleeting feeling. You're chasing money, and that's actually revolving around morals, ethics, and values. That has nothing to do with your money. You're taking the shekels over anything else. What are you content with? Because it's not here. Being here at the office and complaining about this, you are not content, let alone happy. Happy is getting a coffee when you really want a coffee, getting the new iPhone after you ordered it. It is making sure that you're at your destination on time or you're making your plane. That is happiness. I'm happy. Thank you. But that's not content. Content is actually going to a destination after you made the plane and doing a speech. That's contentness because you are doing something that's difficult. Okay. When all of the people who are on a sports team win a championship, it's not the championship that they're happy about. It is putting in all of the work that nobody saw. It's putting in the difficult hours. It's going through all of this hardship together. And then at the end of it, there happens to be a trophy and a celebration. They're happy in that moment, but they're really content because of the difficulty that they had to go through. As you can see from what I'm talking about, is there is a straight line from what you don't want to do, what you should avoid doing, that's good for you, obviously, or things that you need to do to make you content with your life. I didn't want to do repeats today on the gym or in the gym on the treadmill. Okay. I was doing 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. And the 2 minutes off were a 6.2, I think I was at a one degree elevation. So the off wasn't really that off. It was still a pretty good jog. It was probably in the 9s per minute mile. Then when I was on, I was doing 8 something, if not 7 something. So I was doing a darn near heavy jog, if not a sprint, but a heavy jog when I'm on. And I think I did probably about 12 on, 12 off, because it was about a 50 to 55 minute. I was drenched. During that time, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. I was actually quite miserable that I had to move away from a podcast and put on some heavy Christian metal, okay? Because I was not happy. I was exhausted. My heart rate was at 164 for at least 15, 20 minutes the whole time. But by the end of it, I was content. I did something I didn't want to do. Okay. What am I talking about in today's day and age? We are being sold right now. I just saw a story. 70%, by the way, it's a total lie. It's like 100%. They said 70% of students are using AI for schoolwork. It seems easy now. And they said most of them actually are saying that this is hindering their thinking. Okay, Captain Obvious, it's 100% of students are using it and 100% of students are actually getting their thought hindered. What do I mean by that? Original ideas, going against the grain, doing something that they want to do and not what everyone else is doing. It is standing out from the crowd. It is being relevant in a situation when everyone is relevant. So that makes nobody relevant. It is thinking for yourself. It is being objective when everyone else is being subjective. These are huge ramifications long-term to thinking, okay? When you are relying and you are outsourcing everything in your life, including your maps, your ability to move and navigate throughout the highways and roads and avenues and streets get harder when you're relying just on Google Maps. But when you had to pull out a map, it was obviously more challenging, but you had to say, I have to take this, to do that, to get to there. That's not outsourcing your thinking. That's actually thinking, but outsourcing direction. We are now at the point right now where we are outsourcing not only our fleeting feeling of happiness, we're outsourcing because everyone's in and I'm not going to get to contentness. Everyone is outsourcing their fleeting feeling of happiness, and everyone is in a numb state right now. Everyone is in a numb state. This is what I was talking about today, and I'll get to the conclusion of the story. Everyone's in a numb state because they are literally outsourcing their happiness, not knowing that they should actually be directed towards being content. Being content is doing the challenging thing. Being content is not going to AI for every single thing, including maybe I should do a video that is against happiness. I think AI would say that's a stupid idea because you should maybe do what's happy because that's what people are trending all over social media. But in fact, that's not the best way. Ben Shalokar, I'm forgetting, I'm butchering his name. I'm trying to, whatever. He has the happiness books and he has like 4 or 5 around happiness. I think he's a Harvard professor and I read 2 to 3 of his books fully and was shocked at the conclusions. Just go to Happiness Advantage or just happiness and his first name is Ben and it'll come up. What is the conclusion here? The conclusion is whether you agree with him or not, but what's his name? Mark Cuban came out with a quote, and I don't know the full context, so I'm just going to say the quote. He said that software is dead, and he said at the end of the day, when software is dead, people are going to be unhappy. So what is the difference? The difference is that everything is going to become a commodity. Websites, apps, ideas, your dashboard, your thinking, your work, what you do, what you think is cool, what you listen to, what you watch is all going to be a commodity. So what it's going to be dialing down, this is sort of the conclusion he was going to, is authentic niche content. Authentic niche content. You're essentially connecting the dots to multiple areas in which you are creating content and or focusing your work. What does that mean even further? We're democratizing everything. We're democratizing content, ideas, what people are interested in, videos, creation. I was listening to a video on my treadmill today. They say that 20 million videos are uploaded onto YouTube every single day. So that means every single idea about every single thing that you can think about is being uploaded every single day, multiple times a day. If you're talking about productivity, if you're talking about being content and happy, that's being uploaded right now to YouTube as we speak. Where does this go from here? This for me is going to be my advantage. From here, I'm going to literally pivot into a niche area where it brings together people who are interested in personal development and building and solopreneur, content creation, being radically different, understanding how the world actually works, and then pivoting towards that. What do I mean by that? That means you're not working for a large company. You're content making 150 to 250,000, even though the government's taking half. That is people that are content with being relatively in shape, but they're not lazy. That's people who are not obsessed with the latest sports, the latest drama, the latest Twitter posts, the latest streamers, the latest politicians, the latest elections. They're not obsessed with that. They don't care about it. They've risen above that. This whole channel has come down to this moment, and I understand my content was all about personal development. Then it went into faith. Then it went to vibe coding. Why not combine it all? Why not combine it all? Because I'm into all of it. Why not combine it all? And that is the Venn diagram of putting together three areas. And that's what I think the world is going to go to. Right behind me, it's going to be that side. It's over there. Not that building, but another building that's right behind that, actually. Right behind that is the Salesforce building. It's a public company that's worth billions of dollars. Mark Benioff started it. His morals, ethics, and values do not align with me. I used Salesforce for 8 years. I've spent $50,000 on 5 different developers to get it to where it is. 3 of them were complete frauds. Okay. We're done with the SaaS of this is a SaaS. This is a SaaS. I'll give you an example. I bought goggles that I could swim with in the pool, and it has a little screen on it. And it said, to use these goggles, you have to activate it. I have version 1. I literally used the goggles and it synced and I had everything right there. The version 2 comes with a subscription. Okay, so I have a subscription to everything in my life. No. The subscription in the future is your life. It's everything. And I thought about it this week. That's essentially what I'm building. People who are understanding that the way that they operate and the habits they have every single day matter. And when you do the things you don't want to do, like go live, and you have an idea in your mind, and I'm going to get to the end of the story, and you go live on a MacBook Pro in the middle of a conference room that you did not book to hook up your Osmo or your DJI microphone to then riff like you used to about personal development, connecting it with a bunch of other things, including entrepreneurship, and then doing another video after this live, which is more of a spilling of the guts to the members that I don't have, to then creating another video on my Instagram that goes to my personal audience, to then do, in other words, I'm doing things I don't want to do. I don't want to do this. I had a crash out privately about saying, why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Why is nothing working right now? Well, if everything worked, then everyone would be successful. You're essentially going through the 3 feet to gold right now. I am right now. I'm going, most people, there's a great book, 3 feet from gold, or 3 feet, I think that's what it is. But essentially, you have gold right here. Everyone's digging. They're going like this. They're going like this. And then they stop. If they just went 3 more feet, they would hit gold. That's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at right now because I understand that I stopped the vibe coding, and I know people that are still vibe coding, even though their income is going down. And I know that people in the community were against this. However, I also understand that my value is not going to be vibe coding. I also understand that what I'm putting out is not going to be done vibe coded. So I have to do the hard reckoning of putting out a product on iOS and on desktop that people are going to use that I am using. I have the thinking in my mind already that I'm going to wear Meta glasses. I'm going to be going from the train station to the gym wearing the Meta glasses and talking about my workout, which is going to be on the app that I'm creating. And it's going to have my inbox and my calendar and my drive and my docs and my website and my content and my sleep score and everything else, my checklist, my to-do list. And people are going to say, holy cow, that's actually really cool. How much is that? Oh, it's only about $10 a month. So you mean I get a website, I get an inbox, I get my custom domain, which you pay for obviously separately. That's through whatever can, yourown.com. You combine everything into a Life OS. And then I thought about it even further is that's part of the community that people are desperately seeking. So the conclusion to the guy this morning, which kind of was a radical move, but I respect it. Let's go. Dog sport. I said, what's making you happy is staying at your job and getting that extra paycheck. It's August. It's the end of August next week. It's literally the last week of August. And then you go directly into the first week of September that then goes into the Labor Day weekend. Do you want to wait 2 weeks to get a paycheck again? Where's your morals? Because that is your happiness. He's like, well, I could just wait it out another 2 weeks. He's been complaining about this job for a month and a half. He's like, I got to get out of this. It's just suffocating me. This is not me. I said, well, what's actually going to make you content? Because that's not happy. Content is actually a great movie, or at least a parallel. Jerry Weintraub came out with a book called My Way, or that was the documentary that was on HBO or Amazon or one of them. And then obviously that riffs off of one of his clients. Jerry Weintraub was a guy that created Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, and he worked with Frank Sinatra and a bunch of other people. Highly recommend his book, his biography. It's actually very good. Biography, autobiography, I don't know. It's one of them. It might be an autobiography. It's very good. Very bold man. Very bold man. One of the OGs in the Hollywood scene. And I'm not a fan of the Hollywood folks, but this guy, he's got a good personality. What he said in the book and what he did in the book, it's a riff off of Frank Sinatra's My Way. He did it his way. You have two ways that could be done. Okay, my way today is selfish and prideful and full of arrogance. At that time, it was, I'm doing it different. I know that videos and movies are being created. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to produce things my way, and I'll create an audience from there. And Jerry was very, very successful. Obviously, Frank Sinatra was as well. And the way that Frank Sinatra sings it, he's in a joyful state. He's in a content state. My way. And he's happy about it. Not in today's happiness. Today's happiness is selfish, going after what you want, fleeting experience, more. Because I was asked yesterday on the live, what makes you happy? I don't care about what makes me happy. I really don't. It's not, I don't go after anything that makes me happy, because that was my entire life. My entire life was what made me happy. And guess what it did? It made me miserable. It made me miserable. What makes you happy is maybe scrolling on TikTok, but at the end of it, how are you? It could be watching something that really just gets you excited about drama. I can't believe this person had this reaction about that person, or that person had a comment about that. How do you feel afterwards, though? Do you feel a little icky where you got to like take a shower? Because that's happiness. That's happiness. I'm happy in this moment. Outside of this moment, I'm unhappy. That's not contentness. So this whole video, and essentially the whole channel going forward, is what is going to make people content? What's going to make kids content that this survey talked about 70% are using AI? First of all, it's 100%. Their contentness is to use AI and then to use their own brain. And it's going to be really hard to shut it off, just like it's really hard for them to shut off putting their phone down. And there will be a revolution against their cell phone and content and their addictions to social media and video and validation and fitting in and everything else, just like there's a counter revolution to everything that happens when the entire clock swings one way. There will be a counter revolution as it happens at all times. However, This one needs to be directed towards what I'm talking about, which is doing the things that are hard. And that means right now, there's not a lot of people doing things that are hard. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of people doing things that are hard. They're not. More people are out of shape than ever before. More people are being numbed up on drugs, on pot, on smoking, on drama, on social media, on addictions, on alcohol, on everything. They are being numbed to their faces. They are drowning in numbness right now. To stand out, it has never been easier, yet it has never been harder, because you are going against a massive grain. You're going against people who are essentially just in a tsunami going the way of happiness, which is entertainment. It's the Mr. Beasts, instead of the people that are going, you know what? Let's look after our life and see how we can get better. How do we improve our life? How do we do things? My message is clearly contrary to entertainment. It is taking accountability and taking action. That's the best way to think about it. Being content is taking action and going against distraction. I'm going to go back in. I have no idea if my chats are done. I have no idea what it's created right now. They're all working in the background. But my contentness is putting together an app that is an all-encompassing app that I use, that I market, that then I can go and market it for other people that want also everything in one place, where they don't need to go to so many different Google apps when that all should be one. Why am I downloading Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Maps, Google for Mail, Google Search? You have Google Teams all over the place. I understand it's a massive multinational conglomeration, and I'm just a nobody screaming at a computer in the middle of nowhere, New York City. I understand that. However, you also have to think about it is it's insane that they do have all of that on so many different apps. Why not one? Is it too big? Is it too complicated? Is it too hard? I have no idea. It's a lot easier probably to silo them into different apps. Yes, okay. But now you're going to a super app. And I think it's a little too late right now to be announcing that. That's kind of like Apple talking about glasses. They're announcing glasses. That's also about Apple talking about Siri AI. That ship has sailed. That ship is 13 years old when Steve Jobs bought Siri for $200 million. That ship has sailed. Just call it Siri, or just call it AI at this point, and just do what you should have been doing, which is a full integration into your operating system. Do you understand if Claude or OpenAI or Perplexity or any of the Chinese open models had the amount of devices, software, and data that Apple does? It's what Google should be doing. It's what Gemini should be on their notebooks, their cell phones, their search, their apps, everywhere. I'm also going to call it right here, and I know we're off the rails on the actual topic. I'm going to call it right here. There's going to be a major collapse in a massive legacy company. I'm calling it right now. So they can track you. Well, listen, first of all, they're getting tracked anyway. There will be a mega loss of a company like Bear Stearns. There will be a Bear Stearns moment. There will be a Merrill Lynch moment where it collapses and you go, whoa, or Ford GM, oh, we got to bail them out. Except this time we're not going to bail them out. I don't know who it is, but there's going to be a major company based on their AI spend. They're not looking at their receipts. Too much is going outside the door. They're not getting enough in. People are going somewhere else. The amount of accounts receivable starts going down. And then they start going, oh, wow, we only have about a year and a half of runway as a 150,000 person organization. We got to cut 10%, kind of like what Meta just did. And someone said something very interesting where on the Moonshots podcast, where Zucks doesn't even potentially, and this was a hot take by him, by Alex on the Moonshots podcast. He said something very interesting. He said, I think Zucks doesn't even want to be at Facebook as a Facebook social media company. You think about it, he's got Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Now he's started to go into the product, which is the glasses, and software, which is obviously anything that has to do with his AI. But I'm telling you right now, all of this leads down the same road, which is us getting off things that distract us, that are putting us down the wrong path. We need to get off happiness. We need to look at what is making me content against my will, and then do those things. That's why I want to put on the app, on the main homepage of the app of Orbit, is streaks. What are the 5 things I do every single day? For me, no alcohol. I also want to get off coffee, or at least limit it. It's no distractions on my cell phone. It's understanding that for me, I need to put out 4 pieces of content, 4 videos every single day, just to stay sharp, just to stay on, that I could just riff on a live video. And I'll have that on the right side where I essentially say, okay, didn't look at my cell phone, no alcohol last night. And you just go down. These are the 5 things I need to do every single day. Then you have subsets of that. That's what people should be tracking. An alternative, or not an alternative, but the back end of that is, I have a better sleep. I have a better workouts. I'm running faster. I'm eating better. Getting sugar out of your life. Making sure that your whole life holistically is moving in the general direction of improvement. So I'm going to pop off for now. From now on, I'm going to be going live with ideas like this that essentially may not be the most popular. It's not going to get the most views. I'm going to get better at these. They're probably going to be shorter. I might add in a lot of the AI. It's going to add in the personal development. It's going to add in the app and marketing and sales and everything else. But from now on, I got to be honest. I'm going to the end of the year, number 1. Number 2 is, it's not about, I understand now, based on what my buddy did, he literally walked in and quit his job. He walked in, he came up to me and he goes, dude, I'm out. You what? He goes, I'm out. I quit. He walked in, he chose his contentness, and he's out. He said, you know what? I don't need those extra 2 weeks because I'm just going to be doing it. And to be honest, I'm not going to be doing anything at the job anyway. He was already looking for jobs for the last 2.5, 3 weeks anyway. On the clock, getting paid. So he's like, I'm out. He chose being content. The hard thing is easy thing is walking into work, getting a paycheck. The hard thing is, what do I do next? What's my next general direction? Because I know it's not this. That was his thinking. It's not this. What I'm doing is not this. What makes me content is not this. So have a blessed day. I'll be live probably tomorrow. It's a Friday, but I'll be producing videos at all times going forward as part of my to-do list to aerate all of the stuff going on in the world, combining it and making it easier for us to win.